having trouble getting his trucks to behave. They bumped and squealed as he dragged them to the quarry for Mavis and Toby. The troublesome trucks didn't want to be filled with scratchy stones, and they wouldn't let Henry forget it. But Henry knew his little journey was nearly over when he heard the ring of his friend's bell. Whoop, whoop! Hello, Toby, he called. At the quarry, things were very disorganised. Mavis was squabbling with some trucks, and Toby was nowhere to be seen. You seem behind with your work, Mavis, said Henry's driver. Never mind, I'm sure Toby will be here soon to help you out. I expect so, sulked Mavis, who didn't like Toby helping her all the time. She wanted to do things on her own. Toby's an old fusspot, she said, bumping a line of trucks crossly. She didn't want Henry's help either, so he returned to the yard, glad to leave the mess behind. The next morning it was Edward's turn to take the empty trucks to the quarry. He was looking forward to seeing his old friend Toby. As Edward steamed carefully along the outlying line, he heard the ring of Toby's bell. Hello, Toby, he called. But Edward didn't get a reply. When he arrived at the quarry, Edward had never seen such a mess. Mavis bumped the truck so hard that it broke, and the rest of them refused to work. Toby will help you, said Edward kindly. I don't want his help, snapped Mavis. I can do it on my own. Where is Toby? Asked Edward. Oh, summer, I expect, said Mavis. Wherever he is, it must be important it will leave you in this mess, said Edward's driver. I'm not in a mess, said Mavis, as the poor truck collapsed. It sent white chalky dust everywhere. That afternoon, Thomas waited for Mavis to bring down the loaded trucks to the station yard. But they didn't arrive. Thomas's driver spoke to the Fat Controller. There must be something wrong, he said. The Fat Controller was very concerned and decided to go to the quarry himself. Thomas took him right away. On the way, they heard Toby's bell ring. Stop here, please, said the Fat Controller. I'd like to check that Toby isn't in trouble. The Fat Controller was surprised by what he found on the other side of the hedge. It was a big cow, wearing a large bell round her neck. They carried on to the quarry. There they found poor Mavis surrounded by derailed trucks and covered in dust. She didn't expect a visit from the Fat Controller. What on earth? He cried. Where's Toby? Poor Mavis was so fed up that she began to cry. I haven't seen him all day, she sniffed. Well, you should have told someone, said the Fat Controller more kindly. He wasn't cross with Mavis now, because he could see that she was sorry. Thomas took the Fat Controller to Toby's shed, and inside stood poor Toby with a broken wheel. He thought all his friends had forgotten about him. We thought we heard your bell, said Thomas, but it was a cow. The Fat Controller agreed that when Toby's wheel was mended, he would give Toby a brand new bell, so that they would always recognise him.
One night in the sheds, Thomas, Percy and Toby were talking about the old days. It used to be very busy on my old line, Toby remembered. During the fruit season, the men would have to work hard loading the vans. They were very heavy to pull those fruit trains, but driver and I would never let anyone down. Toby paused and chuckled. Except once, when we nearly did, he added. Tell us, urged Percy. Toby paused again, remembering. It was nearly the end of the strawberry season, he began. All the farmers wanted to move their fruit before it was too late. Strawberries are important, you see, he explained. They mustn't be delayed, otherwise they will go bad, and then there are no use in the shops. Anyway, the men loaded the vans, and then driver decided that we shall try and take them all in one train. 48 vans there were, so he said. It was a bit of a risk because I won't be able to get another drink of water before I reach home. My water tanks aren't very big, you know, and a heavy load like that uses a lot of steam. Which certainly does, agreed Thomas and Percy, remembering the time when, with Duck, they had pulled Gordon's Express. Well, went on Toby, Fireman filled my tanks as full as he could, and we set off. It was hard work, and Fireman was getting worried quite soon after we started. Then we came to a bridge across a canal, which had a steep hill up to it. I was glad when we were safely over that. At last we came to a small station about halfway along the line. Driver stopped me. It's no use, Toby, he said. Given enough water to get home on your own, but not pulling this train. Why don't we go and get some water and come back for the train? I suggested. Driver agreed, so we uncoupled the trucks and set off. My tanks were nearly empty by the time we got home, but we made it, and I have a lovely long drink. My word, I was thirsty. Then we came back and brought the strawberries in safely. Our controller was pleased, and came along later to thank us for not letting the tramway down. That was kind of him, Toby added with a smile. It's nice to feel useful, isn't it? Thomas and Percy had to agree, and then they began to change topic about buses. It was partly buses that closed my old railway, said Toby sadly. They took away Henrietta's passengers, you see. We never once had an accident. But it made no difference. Anyone went by bus and no one traveled in Henrietta. A bus called Bulgy tried that once with Duck and Oliver, Thomas remembered, but it didn't work. He is now a henhouse. Serves him right, put in Percy. He got too big for his wheels. I remember when Henrietta was scout over a bus, said Toby. Please tell us, urged Percy. It was one summer, Toby began. The road beside our line was busy, as well as the cars going to the seaside. It was market day in the town, and the buses were full of people either going shopping or going home. But there was no one in poor Henrietta. Driver wanted to leave her behind for our last journey of the day, but I didn't. There's no one in her now, but you never know, I told him. Well, we started, but we hadn't gone very far when a bus whizzed by much too fast. It'll come to a bad end, I should wonder, my driver remarked. He was right, too. In the village, workmen had been mending gas pipes and dug a big hole in the road just around the corner. They put warning signs up, but that bus must have been going so fast that it couldn't stop in time. By the time he got there, the signs were broken and the front wheels of the bus were hanging over the hole. He couldn't move, but even if he could, his front end was so bent that his driver couldn't steer him properly. Serves him right, said Percy. Well, we stopped nearby, Toby continued. Passengers from the bus stormed to tell the driver how careless he had been and came over to see us. Can you help us? They asked. We want to go home and that bus is no use. Can we travel in Henrietta, please? Of course you can, replied the driver. Climb in. Toby and I will have you home in no time. So Henrietta and I took the passengers home, finished Toby. It took a little longer than no time, I'm afraid. I can't go very fast, but wasn't it lucky I took Henrietta? You never know, do you? Thomas and Percy enjoyed Toby's stories, and soon they drifted off to sleep.